All right, so I'm sure as many of you have seen, there was a new kind of male birth control that was put to trial and axed from the trials due to side effects. These side effects included, soreness, acne, things of that nature, and in some rare instances, infertility. So naturally, the ethical standards were considered, and the scientists conducting the research decided to stop researching this particular drug. Now, of course, men want to have a birth control option, so that way we have some kind of autonomy over birth control other than condoms, like women have. We want that. So I'm a little shocked that we have articles coming out from mainstream media sources like MSNBC that the reason this was axed is because men are like sissies or something. They cite the fact that these side effects are sometimes present in current female birth control. And they're right, they are. Sometimes birth control does give you, soreness. It's been associated with acne in some cases. However, the side effects in this male birth control were significantly more severe. For example, 50% of men reported getting severe acne from this birth control. Compare that to a common form of female birth control, where 70% of women actually report reduced acne, if anything. Now, that's not nearly as serious, though, as the infertility issue. If you actually look into the results of the study, several men of the, I think it was 500 who were put into trial, are now infertile, or at least for a time period were infertile, like extended beyond what the medicine was supposed to do, and then recovered. I think a couple of them never recovered and a couple of them did. I'm not 100% sure on that. I would have to go back and reread it to be 100% sure. Whereas female birth control almost never causes infertility. I tried really hard to find a scientific scholarly study on this, but I couldn't really find anything. But almost every article I read posits that female birth control does not cause infertility. So if it does at any rate, the rate must be negligible. Whereas with this male birth control, I believe it was 2.5% were infertile. Now, this is a serious thing because we don't want birth control to be causing permanent infertility. That's why the trial was stopped. It's not because we don't want this or because the side effects were too much in terms of like the soreness and things. 75% of the men said they would gladly continue taking the medicine. The reason why it was botched is because the researchers decided that the risk of infertility was too high and that it would not be fair to put this on the market. Additionally, it's not actually the men who are being studied that determine whether or not the medicine goes out on the market or whether the research continues. It's actually the researchers. And among those researchers were females who decided to stop the research. This is all normal stuff in the scientific medical community. When a medicine is determined unsafe, it's no longer being researched. This isn't patriarchy. This isn't men always getting what they want. 75% of the men did want it. Most men do want a form of birth control so that we don't have to rely on women to take birth control. And yet the media has this completely sexist reaction towards it, saying that, men are weak, that we're, cowards, and that we're not willing to take on these side effects. And again, it's just the severity of the side effects. The muscle aches that the men reported were much worse than the muscle aches that female birth control can cause. The rate that these side effects were appearing were much higher than the rate that they appear in female birth control. This particular birth control was not just some pill you take every day, it was an injection. We're talking a syringe. There is other research for other forms of male birth control. There is a gel type research, or a gel type birth control being researched in India currently, and it is expected that that will pan out and perhaps be available in other countries to research, and it might be approved by the FDA, and that would be very good. And I would also like to just point out that there are about 20 different kinds of female birth control on the market. Females, if you feel like the birth control you're taking is causing too harsh of side effects, you do have the ability to try another kind and see if it doesn't cause you those side effects. That's why there are so many in the market. The reason why the females have so many options and men just have the one is because the female reproductive system is simply a lot easier to shut down. That's just the consequence of biology. It has nothing to do with the patriarchy. It's just how life doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. So sometimes things happen in nature that hurt your feelings. I feel like I'm just going to start saying the same thing over and over again, so I'm just going to kind of cut it here pretty soon. This was something that particularly outraged me, simply because I'm so sick of every little thing being attributed to some kind of patriarchy. Nothing can just be an incident of biology. Nothing can just be the way things are because that's how nature works. It has to be the patriarchy. Next, you're going to try and tell me that periods happen because males engineered a recessive gene on the X chromosome that causes the period to happen. And it's not just an incident of biology. It just doesn't make any sense for these people to have such a ridiculous victim complex about something that is so inane. I understand you are upset that males complained about certain side effects, but why didn't you read beyond the headline to find out that these side effects were actually pretty wild? Why did you just share the article that has misandry written all over it, not even giving a fuck about the facts, and then claim a patriarchy is at work here? Completely brainless. So that's all I got for you on this. Thank you for watching and have a great day.